Well, hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz,
And I'm Tina Lookbakk. Welcome to Retired.
the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure. Today, we have a topic, but I have a feeling we're going to get off topic today.
Well, Sue, that's what we do because we have so much to say, which is why we're in this thing together because we love talking and we have a lot to say about so many things.
So, excuse us, listeners. We did drop our scheduled topic for today and instead just shifted right over to what was on our minds. The evacuation, any random thoughts that came to mind, and the topic of the debate that was last night. So let's jump into that conversation. All right. So yeah, the debate last night, I was thinking that Vance came off as very slick. He was a friend said,
Polished.
yeah, well, I don't know if I'd call him polished, but slick. Kind of like the slickness of a sleazy lawyer. You
Car
know,
salesman.
well, yeah, and yeah, like a know-it-all. Yeah, you're right, like a car salesman who knows it all and patronizes you as he talks to you. But no, I had a
So not
friend.
authentic. He was not authentic.
I think he was authentically sleazy. Yes, I think there are people who are authentically like that. No, but I have a friend who said, he did a better as a debater. Not that what he said made sense or there weren't lies and so forth, but as a debater. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I looked at Walsh and he seemed just more un. I would say like unpolished, like a debater. He seemed more like just a regular person. And I was thinking, you know, don't
Oh,
we want a
that's not a
teacher?
bad thing.
Well, I know, and yet no, because then he
Right.
doesn't come across as this high level uh, politician or someone who's very polished in a good way, and not that he's unpolished. It's just that he just seems like a regular kind of
Person.
guy, which is wonderful. I mean, I'm thinking if you were a teacher, this is a normal person. So he has these gaps in his talking, just kind of like how we do, and struggles to find the best word. I'm not struggles. I would say, he's trying to find to be precise
Yeah.
about what he's saying and not gloss over stuff or have so many things prepared in a script so that, obviously he was prepared. But his style of talking was more like a regular person. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's not, but for the vast
Mm.
majority of people, they want it to look different,
Yes,
right?
and that's my point.
It's an image. Exactly. And that's what you're saying is the image wasn't there. But actually, do we want image or do we want real?
Right.
I
And
prefer real, but it's because we can think through it. But most people want to just look at the shiny package.
yeah, and well, and maybe they want to look at the shiny package and just say, I wish he was more like that. But then,
Oh,
you know, it kind of takes away from if you invest your energies into being that highly polished veneer, uh,
I like that veneer. Uh-huh.
it may not. It takes away from your time to learn and get experience in other areas that will better serve you as a public servant. And I don't think, you know, I I liked him.
Okay. You didn't come across, you kind of scared me this morning because you paused. When I
Well,
asked the question, what did you think? And you paused.
it was
Too
interesting.
long of a pause.
Well, it was interesting too, though, because when you saw Harris and Trump debating, they look very different, of course. But it's an expectation. You've seen them so much, and it wasn't. One is so clearly more appealing than the other. Okay. With these two, with Vance and Waltz, it was very marked their differences too. I mean, they both had the a black, a dark suit, the correct color tie, and but then their faces. You look at Walsh, and he does look older. He's got that gray hair, and he looks older than us. I would say. I think we've aged better. Um, but it wasn't like
Thanks.
so old that he looked decrepit, or like he needed a walker or something. Vance looked better than I had seen him in other media. He didn't have the big dark stuff under his eyes, and his eyes didn't look dark. They looked normal. And so they did a really nice job on makeup. He looked younger. So I don't know. I don't, like everyone's saying, I don't know that that's going to change anyone's opinion one way or the other. There were things that were not fully, um, there were some untruths on both sides, a lot more on Vance's side, of course. Then there was that thing that came up with Walsh with his. He said he was in Tiananmen Square during that time, and he wasn't. And he kind of
Oh
worked his way around that.
no.
You know, and you're also,
No.
he set the context for how he said it. You know,
Oh,
that says something about you when you were,
yeah, it
however old he
does.
was,
It says a
25 or
lot.
whatever. So that's typical politician. But then you also hear all the things that Vance has claimed and how he's changed and all that. So, one seemed much sleazier. So anyhow, the debate.
Okay. What about the most positive thing that you saw?
Well, I mean, I think
Or the most hopeful?
the messages that Waltz gave. He was talking about women's rights. They were talking about abortion and the loss of Roe v. Wade. He framed it as a women's health issue, and talked about the rights of women and how we treat women. It was all very pro woman as a human being, and it's like I loved hearing someone, in our generation, a man standing up for us. Thank God, and it's like yeah, that was for me the
The big
strongest moment. I
takeaway?
was cheering, yay! But yeah, ah, interesting stuff. You didn't watch it, huh?
No, I'm so discombobulated with the fire and the helicopters and the planes. It just I don't have the headspace right now. I It's been really difficult. So I did what I learned that I do. Do you want to know what I've learned my fundamental coping strategy is?
What's that?
Cleaning and
Oh,
organization.
oh,
So I completely ripped apart my bedroom and I cleaned it really well, reorganized some of the furniture, threw out some things, and basically kind of packed for the evacuation in case we have one. So I got a suitcase out that will be my permanently ready suitcase with the most critical and important things. So I can just grab it and go if like it had to be really fast.
okay.
So that felt kind of nice, and I made a packing checklist and I printed it and put it in that bag so it's ready to go to pull out for all the other things. So it sounds odd, but it felt very calming that I have a plan. So I'm kind of grateful to have this second experience, um, because there are some things I wish that I had packed the first time, and some things I'm glad I didn't this time or won't if necessary.
No, it doesn't sound odd at all. I mean, to me, it sounds like common sense. If that would really put you at ease, knowing that
Yes,
that there's a plan,
ready.
and it makes sense. It's tested, and yeah, I think that would give you a lot of
Just peace.
yeah,
Just
peace.
peace.
Yeah.
And I want to share with you, I think I did a little bit, but I think it's kind of funny. So I worked through the evacuation plan. And the last time we went down to inner LA, and I thought I was going to die for all kinds of reasons. And part of it was just I escaped living in an urban concrete environment for reasons that I am now sure I did the right thing. So now here I am trying to heal myself and stay calm in the middle of urban, like not a tree around. Like the street we were on, like it was all concrete, everything all around, and no parks really to go to. It made me appreciate our town up there, North Sioux. It is really an exceptional town. There are parks everywhere. Every like 10 feet, we have parks, and it's beautiful. So I was not in that environment. And what I learned is, and it goes back to my divorce, when I bought my convertible and I had my dad's truck, I drove into the forest all the time. That's what I did on the weekends. And I went by myself, I took my dog, and I just drove through the forest. And so it occurred to me that's how I heal. So I got to thinking, well, it started with the whole looking up Airbnbs, and I'm looking up at places in the desert, where they might take a dog, some pretty places like Joshua Tree. And then I thought about regular places down in LA, maybe be closer to my daughter in San Diego. And I just got sad. Like, I don't want to drive 2.5 hours, spend a whole ton of money in an area I don't want to be. So I thought, well, Tina, let's play with this a little bit. Like, where would you want to go? And I thought, well, I've always wanted to show Maria Yellowstone. Like, to me, that is the happiest place on the planet. Like, I love it. It's just moose and bear and elk with big antlers and buffalo walking by your car. So I'm like, Yellowstone. And then I was thinking back to the last trip we made as a family. And I was kind of ridiculed, except for my youngest daughter. But the other two ridiculed me because I said, next time we go on vacation, let's go to Montana. Let's get like this little cabin in the woods that overlooks a river, and we can play board games and sit on a porch, and we can fish, and we can go out in the creeks, and and if we can, let's find horses and go horseback riding. And then it occurred to me that hasn't changed. So why not go to Montana? So I started looking it up. It was cheaper than anywhere around here because it's out of state in the low season, right? So I could stay in this beautiful cabin. So I found one and I hearted it. There was not a cabin around, and it was up on a hill and it overlooked everything. And I'm like, that's it. So I looked at Maria and I said, you know what? Let's see our friends that have been offering their place down in the desert. Let's bring all of the things that we need for our business so it's safe, and then park my car there and then drop it off, come home. Because if we plan it ahead before the rush hour hits, then let's load up your Jeep, which we've done so many camping trips in, and put all of our camping stuff in there. And let's go. Let's take a road trip. And then all of a sudden, it was like, this is a horrible thing, but I'm actually excited. So either way, it's a win. So, it's all how you have to look at it. I could be in this position where I'm enjoying. I know that it won't be perfect. I know that I'll still be sad and concerned, but at least I'm not suffering in the middle of concrete land in a place spending oodles of money, and it's terribleness for me. So anyway, that's my plan, and I'm like kind of proud of it.
That sounds great. I mean, yeah, to be able to just pick up and go, that's wonderful. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. So there you go. For all of you out there who ever have to contemplate a fire evacuation or evacuation of any kind, plan, really think about what brings you happiness and just plan to do it.
Mm, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people would like to go to the concrete jungle, though, or the urban setting.
It's true. And I love them for it. And that's so them, right? And that's what makes the world unique and different. I'm
Yep.
not that person.
Yep.
I believe I need to be with trees and creeks and forests and berries and animals. So,
And clean air, and yeah. You were talking about how in this town we've got all these parks and stuff.
oh,
I don't know if you've
yes.
been back recently. Things have
No.
changed. When not all that drought happened, it started, and it went on for years. It started affecting trees, and a lot of the trees have issues. And then the high winds that whip
No.
and hit the trees. So trees have been an issue. Branches fall. We even had one that fell and killed a woman in a park. She was playing with her little
Up
kid.
here? Up there?
Yeah, yeah.
In
It
our town?
yeah, they were playing in a sand pit, and it killed the mother, and the kid was there. But So they've been going around trying to take care of trees. Our infrastructure is really not looking good. We have all these wonderful
Oh,
bike paths and green belts,
yes.
but they're not upkept, and they keep trying to expand stuff, and they're not taking care of what there is. So you got all these, the cement. When you're trying to ride a bike, it's boom, dunk,
Yeah,
dunk,
and
dunk, 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 because you're riding over all these
potholes
gaps
and
and gaps in the cement now that have opened up because the earth moves. I mean, duh, we're in earthquake territory. And then, like over here where I live near a retirement community, and like the old people are out there with their walkers and their wheelchairs and tunk 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 and tripping, and they try to come and shave some of the edges, but then, it's just so laughable because like one little edge gets slightly less, but it's, not enough to make a difference. They got to resurface it. They got to fill the giant cracks and grade things. And then, a lot of
is
the
it still green?
no, well, that's the other thing is people during that big, during the big drought times, and then through COVID and everything, people have stopped watering their lawns, and so some people have gone to, zero landscaping and changed it out, and others have just let their lawns rot and die, and that's kind of standard now. And so you go through a neighborhood and it's all brown and yucky, and you're just it's kind of depressing. The culture of taking care of your yard is
It's
not
gone.
there. And I think this is
Wow.
has happened in lots of our country, but certainly it's clear, we're seeing it here. And so infrastructure just doesn't look good. I mean, so you see all kinds of weeds in the streets and trash, and then there are the people who the unhoused, and you see all kinds of camp stuff, and all the these areas along the
How's our
highway.
unhoused population? We've always had one, but have you seen it surge?
Oh, that would be a whole nother episode, Tina. Are you kidding? Yeah.
Well, I did during COVID, and one of my I felt like I was in the twilight zone where I'm asking people, don't you notice that there's so many more tents? Do you not notice there are so many more homeless or unhoused? It was so painful to me. And it was weird because most people don't notice, recognize it, care. And for me, my heart was breaking because I'm like, no, there are cities now. We didn't used to have cities everywhere along the freeway, but our town was relatively unscathed. So you're seeing a change. I
Oh,
mean,
it's a huge change. And then there's crime. Crime has changed things. And we were over at a bike shop downtown the other day, yesterday, and this bike shop has had like 3 or 4 times their windows broken, and just all there's crime, and the streets downtown are full of urine and vomit and stuff, and
what?
it just it everything's kind of looking really,
Different.
yes, very much so. Then you drive to other neighborhoods, other cities, and you're like, wow, okay, this is kind of how our town used to look not so long ago, but
Oh,
kind of feels like a long time ago now. So times they are a changing. Have you been
well,
back up here? When's the last time?
you know what? This is one of the things I've contemplated a lot. I have not. It's been I think, is it 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, things have
I
changed.
can't remember if it was 21, 24. It's 3 years. And I feel it's too painful. It's too painful. I think the divorce, the I think the divorce and the effects of that divorce and the things that have been said that were inaccurate and so untrue. And I haven't wanted to walk back into that environment. I had to fight strength every day, and it taught me to be a truly strong person. But I just feel like, why would I want to walk in and touch another hot stove?
I agree.
So I miss people like you. I actually miss my therapist. She was amazing. I miss my drum instructor. There are things and people I really miss, but I also feel that it's painful. That's where I raised my kids. Um, there's just a lot of pain involved, and I hope, at some point I should be able to heal that. But
Right.
yeah, I don't
Gee.
think I can do it.
Yeah.
Not now.
No, I understand that. And there's not necessarily anything here that you need to come back
Thanks.
rushing back for, you know? Listeners, like any good conversation, we're going to bounce around from topic to topic without much transitioning. So here's a good example. We head back to the conversation about the debate. Okay, so in the debate, it came up this, what do you do about safety in schools? Okay. I
Yeah.
forget how it was framed. I should probably have. This topic just came out of nowhere. We're not talking because we planned this conversation. It just came out
No.
of we're talking to each other. But this was another part that got me. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do about uh, the problems of school violence? Meaning, like, mass killers who
Mass
come in. Yeah,
shootings. Hmm.
school violence, not the children with each other. That's
No,
a whole
no.
nother issue.
People from the outside, but it is children with each other. It's one child with a gun.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
So Vance's answer was like make stronger windows, and then he went off to the other things that you can do to make a school more secure. And I'm just like, you got no friggin' clue. I mean, okay, put that to the side for a moment. Then there's what about controlling access to guns for children
Hmm.
and other people, who controlling access to guns, period. Eliminating access to automatic weapons that are used in war. Because you don't use a gun for war to go out hunting, and you can't use that logic,
No, you
okay?
don't. That's correct.
And then I also go back to school. Okay, so now we're going to make our classrooms like super secure. Kids are going to notice all this, and they already do. And imagine being a child again, hello adults, going to school, no, thinking
Yes.
that you have a likelihood of getting killed, getting shot by an active shooter at your school. What the hell? And then you're also going to take the monies for school, for teaching, for taking care of the infrastructure of the school, but more importantly, paying the teachers a living salary and teaching children. You're going to take those monies and put them into more secure windows. Wow. Wow. I remember when they put in these little rubber foam blocks for the door so that you could flip those,
Oh, yes.
and that
And
was
then they
this
disappeared.
that was the security that we had. People go, "Oh, didn't the doors lock automatically?" Are you kidding? We have our little keys. We're lucky that the darn key works, and then we don't have a key to every door in the school to secure a room that we might be in. Oh my
No.
gosh, no! And then the windows are at the height of your knees, and there's a whole wall of them. All you got to do is use the butt of your gun, smash it, and step inside. I mean, come on.
I think it's the bigger problem. Of course, gun control and access to them, but you know, in all of these situations, Sue, every teacher noticed in advance, if not for years, this child, there is something wrong.
Hmm.
This child, there is something wrong. In every situation, people are like, yep, we've been talking about it. So why not spend money on counseling? We had a counselor. Her job was just inundated. I looked at her and thought, how do you get up and go to work? Because you are barely scratching the surface every day because of all the other directions you're pulled. And if you actually get to counsel a kid, which is your job, how miraculous is that? What if we had teams of counselors so that when the teacher goes, there's something really wrong, and the whole panel of teachers is like, you're absolutely right. Let's take care of the problem. And maybe, wouldn't this be amazing? By getting counseling, perhaps that person who who may not have been able to function once getting out of school could now function and thrive and have a meaningful, hopeful life. I mean, that's where we should be spending money, don't you think? These are people that need help. These are people that need tools. These are people that have been surrounded by people who've needed help and never had tools. So they don't know any better. They just keep reliving the same generational thing that the other generation did instead of fixing the problem.
Yes, so con- gun access, gun control, mental health support, the whole
System.
environment, yeah, the whole culture around this. The cultural response shouldn't be weaponize and secure. It should be
Wow.
let's be proactive, as you're saying. Be proactive. Create a culture that doesn't produce this. You're not going to get 100%, but I mean, and we can't agree on anything in this nation anymore. We're so split. But my goodness, we're going to continue to make our schools a like a lockdown facility, and you don't think kids are going to see this and
They do.
internalize all they I know we do.
They all do.
And but to do this even more than it's already being done, they already have their active shooters, drills. Those were crazy. You're down on the ground and you're thinking, you spend that time thinking, what would I do if there was an active shooter? And children are thinking that. I remember when I was a kid and we'd have, in Florida we had hurricane drills, and in Indiana we had tornado drills.
Tornado.
Um,
And
you
here
know,
we have earthquake.
yeah,
You've covered it all.
right. But those things are natural occurring events, and
Right.
you do need to be aware, and there needs to be concern about it. But it's a different kind of fear than
When it's
fearing
a
human
human.
beings that are coming after you. Those, I mean, and to, I just, it's crazy, crazy. And yet, I also remember being on yard duty. You're in our schools; they're all wide open. The campus is wide open. There's nothing fenced in. People walk around in our park area. They confront you. They have their dogs off leash, and they confront you. Uh, uh,
And argue.
and argue, and you're like, hello, there are children here, your dog's off leash. First of all, it's not an
And then
off
they'll
leash
say, but
area.
yeah, but this is public property and
Yeah.
my dog is really
And I
nice. And
have
you're
to,
like,
and I'm doing this while I'm trying to take care of all these kids. But then you're out there and you're like, geez, I mean, we're so exposed. And, then why am I thinking that? I mean, but I've also had those kids that I've thought, oh God, that's the one that's going to come back,
mhm,
you know?
that's correct. I have too.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
listeners, this was probably not our most uplifting conversation, but it was real.
It was real. That wraps up this episode of Retired. Thanks for listening.
Until next week, please feel free to lend your feedback or ask questions by emailing us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. You're invited to follow us on Facebook at Retired Podcast New Tread. Check the show notes for links and contact information.
Retired is co-hosted by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It is produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Please click to subscribe so that you won't miss your chance to join our retired road trip.